Whether it's your first time here or you're a regular here at Mr. Super Oz, I just want to thank you for tuning in to the channel. It exists because I, Oz, from the channel Mr. Super Oz, I wrote a 68-page graphic novel called Everlasting Survivors. Volume 1 is called All Day Long. If you follow the link in the description of this video, you can get yourself hats, shirts, posters, all kinds of fun things. But most importantly, you can get the story itself. And the more people that pick up the story, the greater the chances are that there can be continued adventures with these heroes. If you could, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment, enjoy. Josiah, thank you for joining me for this current critique of Deadpool and Wolverine. A movie that I think could have been called Deadpool versus Wolverine, given how often they clashed throughout the feature.
Agreed. They fought a lot. You know how that Batman v Superman movie existed?
It did exist.
Yeah.
It lied and said there was going to be a dawn of some justice.
Yeah.
Didn't see dawn or justice going on, but
at no point in time. There was barely any Batman v Superman, if I'm being honest with you.
That is correct analysis.
Man, thank God those two mothers' names both happen to be Martha. Otherwise, who knows what would have happened, right? Oh, shoot.
Oh, my goodness.
Shoot, something that is made fun of by my favorite character, Deadpool. See, I brought that back around.
Absolutely.
Look at that tie-in. Great job, me.
I mean, Deadpool, the character, within this, although, let's be real, in the prior two films also, was quite skilled at making fun of things.
Yes.
One of my, I don't know if it's most enjoyable, but one of the things that stood out to me was the Daredevil gag where, I'd say spoilers, but why are you watching this if you haven't seen the movie? So
yeah, we'll save you from it. Don't watch this until you see the movie.
That's a good shout.
5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds. Hey, welcome back.
There you go.
Go for it, Alice.
So, one of the things that stood out to me was, and this is actually one of my biggest complaints about the film, is the dismissive nature of characters toward other characters. So, Deadpool asks about Daredevil toward Elektra, Jennifer Garner, and she does not seem to care whatsoever about Daredevil. And it bugged me because in my...
Well, they're divorced. So.
So you're saying it was a real-life reference, not a character-based reference. Gotcha. See, I guess that is one of my big disconnects with this film, is maybe I'm not smart enough to realize where the gags are meant to be landing. Because I thought that, and this is a callback to, what, last Monday, 2 Mondays ago? Recently.
Last Monday.
It's a callback to Deadpool 2. I thought that post-credit shenanigans where Deadpool went and messed with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and all that stuff, I thought that was just a little old gag. Nothing too much to worry about, because the film that I spent time in and invested in, well, I thought that's what mattered, not the few moments of junk. Well, it turns out at the opening of this, the character whom I thought was dead throughout all of Deadpool 2, Vanessa, is alive and well and couldn't care less about Wade Wilson, which made no sense to me. I'm like, why is this character that I think is deceased and actually led to Deadpool having growth as a character, and what made me enjoy Deadpool 2 so much, why is she here and also not liking Wade?
So, my opinion on that, it's not that she doesn't like Wade, it's more she wants Wade to continue to grow as a person and not just stop. Because the events of Deadpool 2 still happen to Deadpool. He still has those experiences. It's still...
But she doesn't.
Right, but That's the point.
Which is what makes me think that she doesn't have the same takeaway that he does, obviously.
Right. Yeah, not the same take on me for sure.
Sure.
But listen, like my thing with it was the whole point of Vanessa in all three movies is to have Wade grow as a person. The first movie, it was about him overcoming his insecurities as himself with his appearance, with trying to be a hero, all that stuff. Second movie, it was about overcoming.
Getting to her.
Well, yeah, getting to her.
Yeah.
But before that, before she died, it was about them having a family. And
absolutely. Yeah, but that happened early, though.
Right.
So that's why I thought throughout the film it was about him being worthy enough to be with her in the afterlife that he couldn't be.
Also accurate, yes.
Yeah.
But I
really like that part.
I was trying to break it up into before she died and after she died.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah. But what I said there. Third movie is about him trying to become something bigger than himself, which is basically what I took away as the main point of this whole movie. Because he's about to join a universe that's bigger than himself.
Significantly,
as opposed to those other two movies where it's very much Deadpool's the main focal point.
Yes.
Which he thought when he got to the TVA, he's like, I'm the anchor being, of course. It makes sense. Then they
not even close.
Not even in the ballpark, sir. You are not the anchor.
Which I'll say this to that particular gag. I'm okay with that you're not special part because it's basically the entire thesis of DC Legends of Tomorrow, the TV show. So the team was put together.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
The team was put together under the illusion that you're the tip top heroes, right? You're gonna be a big deal, and then when it gets revealed to them, I lied. The only reason you're on this team is because you don't matter for the entire existence of the universe. I can pull you out when you do whatever we want.
I'm about to say, if you guys die, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Ain't nobody missing you. So I'm okay with that gag. I think that's a fine gag to work.
And I think it's also very true to form for like Deadpool as a character himself. Deadpool didn't become extremely popular until a couple decades ago.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so his emergence was what? Our creation was like what, 93, 94?
Yes.
It was 90 something.
Yeah, early 90s.
But he didn't really blow up until
way later.
2000 and way into 2000. Yeah.
Like easily you could probably say
the video game? Was it the video game that did it, or was it the video game jumping on his now emerging popularity?
I think the video game was around the ballpark when that happened. I want to say that video game was 05.
Okay, yeah, that feels right.
Yeah, we can obviously you can fact check us.
Of course,
in the comments.
And that's exactly. But the fact is that it's not necessarily or not in neither of our cases. We're not saying these are the facts.
Yeah,
we're just having a conversation.
I'm about to say this.
So, and that's the beauty of this format to me is that it's just
the ability to talk about it,
laid back and casual.
For me, and I think this is true of like all the Deadpool movies. I feel like watching it once, you won't catch everything, and you won't know for sure. Like you might have watched this movie this time, and then next time you watch this movie, you might have a whole different takeaway from it, just because you're watching it with fresh eyes.
Maybe. I mean, it's not impossible because. I will say this, before the feature presentation ever started, I had 3 80-year-olds to my right and 4 teenagers to my left.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And so I didn't even start the film in a happy place.
Yeah. Because
I'm telling you, they might not have been 80. They could have been 70-something.
Who cares? They're older. That's what he's trying to say.
What I'm saying is that I could have swore their hearing aids must have been turned down because they were yelling like it was their job. And the youngins, the teenagers to the left, man, they were, I don't know if they were TikToking it or they were, Instagram Reels or whatever, but they were just deep in the technology. And so...
Wait, they were on their phones the whole time?
Not the whole time, before the movie started.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? That's why I said before the feature presentation.
Got it.
But in both cases, it was just like, will you please stop? Like, I'm here to understand and intake this here story, not figure out what's going on over at the nursing home or down at the local high school. Like, in neither case...
Man, you really got both ends of life on that.
Literally, one of the... So, it was an old man, old woman, an old man, right? Mm-hmm. So, one of the old men, his watch goes off, and he says, my watch says I'm getting a good amount of cardio for my age. And then the other old man pipes in, or he puts in his 2 cents, and he's like, I'm sure it's telling you you're pretty and you got a nice package too, or something like that. I'm like, guys, can we please stop acting like that you're the show? You're not the show. Like,
oh no, this is very Deadpool in the commentary the way that's going.
shoot.
Shit.
I mean, again, it's accurate, but I prefer to enjoy the story. And it doesn't matter who.
He likes to watch the movie.
I
Psychopath.
I know, right? Like, I ask so much of these people, so much.
Man.
Yeah. Well, and so here's a converse perspective. So that was the experience I had in a big city for Deadpool, but in a small town when I watched Twisters, the whole place was taken up. There was not a seat to be had. But everybody was very respectful. Now, granted, they were more middle-aged. I would say they were more...
Your age?
Yeah, probably...
Like 30s?
I would say 30 to 50 range-ish.
Okay.
And so maybe that had to do with it, too, was the actual clientele in-house. But Twisters...
Yeah, because kids and old people just don't give a...
Yeah, that's true,
Don't
yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, maybe that's a problem. But, like... I already didn't like the opening. Like, I'm not anti-NSYNC. I'm not saying Bye 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 was the problem. But we start with a scene where it's like, why? It didn't have the heart of the Vanessa storyline. It didn't have the pull at me like the cancer or even the torture of the...
The torture was the middle of the movie.
I know. I'm just saying, but... Whether
I
it be
you're comparing openings,
right, you're right, but I was just saying, like, even that part was also something that gets to me. Whereas nothing throughout, whether it be beginning, middle, and end, at no point did I care about Deadpool. And I think part of the issue is the multiverse, because things got so big, and it, because if you remember right, I felt similarly in I don't care for Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
And so I'm beginning to believe that...
He doesn't like the multiverse stuff.
Well, and it's so weird because I grew up loving a TV show built around interdimensional travel called Sliders. So I think that it's more... I don't like short burst interdimensional movies in here. Because, like, even the one starring Jet Li...
Mm-hmm.
It focused primarily on, as the title would give away, one, Jet Li. There were other ones that were existing, but we primarily focused on one. And then, we also figured out which one is the villain. But so focus is what I need when it comes to interdimensional storytelling.
Interesting take. All right, so for me, let's start with the opening.
Yeah, do you love NSYNC?
To be honest, I don't care about NSYNC.
But just kidding with you.
I was about to say I'm not a teenage girl. So
I mean,
in 2000 and whatever, I don't remember when they were big.
Bye 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 came out, I think, 03.
03? Yeah,
I've watched a lot of documentaries recently.
Yeah.
So
you watch an NSYNC documentary?
It wasn't explicitly NSYNC. So you know how we have both watched Dark Side of the Ring?
Yeah.
Well, Hulu said, would you like to watch the Dark Side of Comedy? I said, yeah, sure. Then I watched the Dark Side of Comedy, and they're like, what about the Dark Side of the 90s? I was like, all right, I guess.
Epic.
And so then they're like, Dark Side of the 2000s. And on that, I watched Total Request Live. That's where the...
Oh, I forgot TRL, yeah.
Yeah, so that's an episode of Dark Side of the 2000s.
Okay.
And from there, then I watched a Dirty Pop documentary. Oh, and I also watched two things on Max, which... I don't actually recommend if you would like to sleep at night. One is Quiet on the Set.
I've seen that, yeah.
Oh, that thing was very...
That was really rough.
It was like...
Especially since that was my entire childhood that ran through, and I'm like, damn.
They did
not watch these shows.
They did ran through them.
Bruh.
And then
I was so depressed. So I recently tried to watch an episode of all that. Now knowing what I know, it's so much harder to watch it.
And then the last and final one, I forget... like Fallen Idols or something. It was about Nick Carter and his brother Aaron.
I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, but these are all pop culturally or pop music-y documentaries that keep popping up because of things that I watched.
Gotcha.
And then like, oh, you'll probably like that too.
Gotta love the recommendations for this. But So I liked the opening. I thought it was funny. First of all, we confirmed that, yes, he did die in Logan, so they weren't going to do classic comic book trope of, well, yeah, this character's dead, but we can just bring him back, and it's whatever. Like, they actually were like, this is not the same Logan from the X-Men, X-Men 2, etc.
I actually like that a lot.
Yes,
yeah,
I'm thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
the right decision.
Yeah, so them confirming that in the opening, so I'm not sitting here thinking, wow, so the Wolverine from all those old X-Men movies that refused to wear a costume is not going to do it. I'm like, no, he never did. He went his whole life, didn't do it.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Sorry. Keep talking about the open movie. When you finish the open, I got to talk about something I like a lot.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I know. So that was cool that they did that piece of confirmation. Also, they had to do a scene where he had Wolverine claws, and they had to figure out how to do it, and I felt like that was the best way to do it.
You mean they open? Yeah, they open where you take... Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Because, the claws. The first thing I was thinking about was, okay, there's got to be a scene at some point where he has Wolverine claws. I just don't know how we get there. So, playing with the dead skeleton of the old Wolverine is the perfect way to get there for me.
Well, and even Deadpool's acknowledgement, how are we going to do this without being sacrilegious, is what he says. He's like, well, we're not.
We're not going to do that.
And so he desecrates the corpse.
Yes. Classic Deadpool. Classic. But yeah, so I really enjoyed the opening. Me and my brother, who I went to go see this movie with, had a great laugh watching that entire scene. And the millions of nut shots, the double penetration scene, if you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about, was absolutely hilarious for us. So we had a good laugh. And
I just realized
yes.
what the problem is.
What?
I'm not good at comedy.
Ah.
I think we've actually already had this conversation in the past,
yeah.
but like me and comedy, there's just a big disconnect. I'm not
there's
saying
Oz, there's a line, and then there's comedy, and he tries to jump the line sometimes, but it never.
And so that actually explains my desire to keep trying to find the heart of the film when what you enjoy about it is the humor. Well, I'm not here for that. Like, give me something more.
That's the whole reason I like Deadpool.
It also explains why my favorite MCU movie is The Winter Soldier, because it's not comedy.
Yeah. That's all story.
Yeah, it's like,
that's all that is.
And so...
in fact, if anything, it's more depressing than it is...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so...
comedic.
It's weird. So I
can't remember. Did you say you liked Ragnarok or not?
I think it's okay.
Okay.
Like, I don't...
Did you like it more than you liked The Dark World?
Yeah, but that's not hard. I fell asleep watching The Dark World.
Yeah, that's valid.
You fall asleep watching a movie, and it's like, well,
that album
really
wasn't good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you needed a few Z's, then I guess. But
I'm about to say yeah.
So in preparation for going to watch Deadpool 3, or Deadpool and Wolverine, I mean.
Yeah, it's Deadpool 3. It's both.
I watched The Adam Project, starring Ryan Reynolds, and Waiting, starring Ryan Reynolds. I thought they were both.
The Proposal?
I thought they were both funnier than Deadpool and Wolverine, but I think it's because. So the child version, or the 12-year-old version of
having a child, Ryan Reynolds does.
That performance.
I wonder if that kid was Kidpool.
Oh, I don't know.
I never actually looked it up to check.
Yeah, I don't know, but that would have been smart if they did do that.
I'm about to say that would have been brilliant casting.
So I liked the... I both liked and disliked all of the cameo voice acting for the additional Deadpools. And the reason I say liked and disliked is because had they all been cameos, I think I would have been a bigger fan. But because we had Nice Pool be Ryan Reynolds,
yeah, it was just funny.
I was like, why can't that one be somebody else too? Was all I really wanted. Because
you mean you wanted them all to be like different people?
Different actors, yes.
Okay.
Just for the sake of getting more names in there, if you will.
Got it. Well, you also got to remember, who's in this movie. So me and my brother looked this up after the movie, because after all the cameos, we're like, how much money did they spend?
Oh, I don't know.
They had a $200 million budget for this movie.
Uh-huh.
which is larger than the last 2 movies combined. I'm pretty confident.
Well,
saying.
and if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure some of its friends didn't even want to get paid to cameo before.
Right.
So in my mind, I wasn't really
Because
doing
Ryan
it as a
Reynolds is really
paycheck,
likable.
but just like, hey buddy,
Just
I'm gonna say a couple words,
Yeah.
type thing.
And I feel that. But yeah, I mean, his wife was there. She was Lady Deadpool.
Absolutely. Which I think is cool.
Yeah, which is dope.
But again, that goes back to when I thought it'd be nice if they were all somebody else. But if it is
and
money
to be
constraints, I'm
fair,
not mad at it.
I'm about to say that I don't know what goes into making movies.
Yeah.
So, or how complicated
I've
it
only
is.
never
Also,
made a
you got to
short film.
think a lot of actors, they don't have time depending on what other projects
true.
they're doing. Vin Diesel's probably making Fast and Furious 24 right now, and that's why he couldn't cameo.
Oh my goodness! If I got to talk about, are you done talking about the open?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
So, the Henry Cavill
Oh,
cameo
yes, that was great.
was both enjoyable, but all it did was make me want to get some Taron Egerton and all these other, like, you give me a little, I want it all, right? That was my problem.
See, Oz leaps to the country. He doesn't just appreciate what he has.
Yeah, so
the fact we got Henry Cavill as Wolverine.
I liked it, but getting
He literally said, "We'll treat you better than the other place by a country mile. Come join us."
So that line was good.
Yeah.
I just thought it would have been nice if what people assumed was going to be the case, that Patch was Daniel Radcliffe, and that another Wolverine was Taron Egerton.
See, he let all the
Yeah,
rumors and
it's the internet,
speculations
yeah.
before
Yeah.
ruin his movie-going experience. You can't let that happen, Oz.
But the short...
That's why I never looked that shit up.
What they
before we
call him?
started.
Short King?
Yeah, Short King Wolverine.
That... If we had gotten him all movie long, I think I would have been...
Honestly, I would have laughed.
It would
have been great.
That would have improved the score for me.
The worst part, the funniest thing about that is, I'm pretty sure that Wolverine was like probably 3 feet tall, and Wolverine's only like what, 5 foot in comics, 5 foot,
5'3".
5'3".
Maybe 5'2".
So I'm taller than Wolverine.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
So I don't think anybody called this, but I would have loved for Danny DeVito to have been one of the Wolverines.
Oh, that would have been great.
But it would have taken away from this short version, so it wouldn't have worked.
It wouldn't have hit the same way. But I would have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Because he's
We had
naturally
Patch.
short.
Yeah, of course. We had Patch. We had Henry Cavill. We had the Hulk versus Wolverine. So the
Hulk
yellow,
was there for a sec.
Yellow and brown suit.
Yeah. Which that suit looked nice.
This suit looked beautiful.
Yeah.
Did we hit all the montage?
Oh, there was Age of Apocalypse. The one with only one hand.
Yeah, and then there was the one with the X in the Land of the Skulls, which, dang, the name of the story is escaping me now. But
yeah, I recognize the cover.
Yeah, I recognize the cover. Yeah, I will throw it up for you now. But yes, a lot of references. A lot of, if you're a nerd, you'll get this moments. A lot of, even if you're not a nerd, you'll appreciate this. Like, and that's kind of why I love like the Deadpool movie so much. They're very all-encompassing, even if you don't know all the references.
I
don't know all the jokes. Sorry, my bad.
No, you're okay. You're okay. Your point is good. I just remembered something that I want to say.
Go for it.
So, before I say what I'm going to say, I'm going to ask you a question.
All right, I'm going to answer it.
Well, first, when did you watch the movie?
Thursday.
Okay. When on Thursday did you watch?
8:30.
Okay, so at nighttime.
Yeah.
So I went to 4 theaters before I watched the movie one time. So at roughly noon, I go to my first theater, a Marcus Theater, and the only thing that is available is the breakneck seats. And I don't do breakneck seats. I don't sit in the front row and you know, get my neck workout all day.
Can't blame you.
So then I go to an AMC. And they have a few corner spots, but I don't really want corner spots, and they have all the breakneck seats. I'm like, nah, I'm alright. So then third, I go to a closed-down Cinemark. Didn't know it was closed down until I got there, but, you know, it is what it is. It was weird because I was on my way there, and I was like, well, I mean, I watched Avengers Endgame in this theater. I'm sure, you know, it'll be comfortable, nice, you know, air conditioning, whatever.
Yeah.
I go, and it's just all boarded up. I was like, you know,
condemned, please do not enter.
Yeah.
That's funny, I didn't know that.
I was like, well, I guess they did not make it through the plague or whatever.
Hate to see it.
And then finally I make it to an IMAX theater. And I don't want to see 3D because I don't like putting glass on top of my glasses.
Can't blame me on that.
And so I checked the 2D and I'm like, all right, I'll make it happen. I gotta kill a couple hours but that's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Get some.
So you had to go on a small adventure to see this movie.
Well, and then if you remember right, then I gotta listen to old
then you
people.
gotta listen to
Generation Warfare. So. So
Oz did not have the best theater going experience. I had the exact opposite. So I bought my tickets online in advance because I knew without a shadow of a doubt I'm going to see this movie, regardless of what the hell happens in life. My brother happened to say he wanted to go too, so I bought our tickets. I think a week after the day became available, so probably like 2 weeks ago from today. So I had my theater seats set in stone. I made sure I got right in front of the screen, like far enough back, and I was on the very so the way the seating arrangement is set up, like there's like two seats like kind of in the middle, and then it kind of like tapers off because the theater goes at a slant, at an angle. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
So we were at the very end of that row, but we were still in the center screen, and the people next to us were as giddy about this movie as we were. So we all enjoyed the experience.
That's great.
So I do think theater, the ambiance, if you will, definitely plays a factor on how much you like a movie and how much you enjoy it.
Well, I've always said I think expectations can make or break something.
For sure.
So, as anybody who watched the Deadpool All or Nothing knows, I went into Deadpool versus Wolverine with some high expectations. I gave a 5 out of 5 and a 6 out of 5 star score. And so, when you have things set to those lofty standards, it does. And because the reason I gave 2 such high marks is because of the heart of the film. And then when you come in, you seek the continuation of the heart, and then it falls short. That's challenging. But I want to say something that I thought was so great within this was musical selection.
Oh, always.
So
every Deadpool movie.
So obviously they covered tons of genres, but it was not just the music itself, but the time that it played. The
what was happening on
exactly
screen when
yes
it was playing.
the connection between the music and the action.
Yeah, just trying to. It was the scene where they were in the car fighting. First of all, there was a nice little gag. You remember after Hugh Jackman stopped playing Wolverine, I think his little next movie was The Greatest Showman.
I didn't know that it was the next one, but I do
Yes.
know that it was not long after.
Yeah, it was pretty immediate. And they played like a little riff of, I want to say, the opening number to that movie.
Sure.
As he was doing the classic banging the head on the radio to get each song.
Got it. Well,
before they got to You're the One That I Want.
They also made reference in the TVA to the fact that he can do you a musical number if you need.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was a callback to whether it be The Greatest Showman or the fact that
there's a lot of Hugh Jackman jokes.
Just the fact that Hugh Jackman has done Broadway. Yeah. I wasn't sure which, but regardless, it was a fine gag.
Yes, it was a good gag.
Yeah.
But my point being, they get to You're the One That I Want, and the whole fight. So, and I told this to Oz off camera before we came in here. The relationship between Deadpool and Wolverine is very much the relationship of two brothers. Because I can totally see and have done where me and my brothers just fight over something completely stupid or something valid. Either way, in this case, it was valid. But we'll fight over something absolutely ridiculous, beat the crap out of each other, and then we'll go right back to loving each other afterwards. And that's kind of where I think Oz didn't see any heart in this movie. I think that's where the heart of the movie was for me.
Well, but here's the important thing.
Yes, go ahead.
I don't have a brother.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I have a sister.
Yeah, there's a difference. Yeah, I guess there's a massive difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I do. I'm not saying you're wrong. I think that you're probably dead on.
Yeah.
But I just don't.
equating it to an experience you don't have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is actually an experience I've long wanted throughout my life. So.
You want me to fight you a little bit, Oz?
What I was going to say is, my mom, her youngest sibling, was her only brother, and he was not quite closer to my age than hers, but whatever. It was kind of that Eddie Chavo type.
Oh, there was a gap.
that uncle nephew, but you're so close in age that you're almost
Yeah,
brothers.
no, I have that one. My mom's little youngest sister was 18 when I was 13.
Exactly, yeah. So it's the Eddie Chavo thing, yeah.
Gap's not huge.
And so my point was, in that relationship, I had a pseudo brotherhood, if you will, and also I had these two cousins. There were three of them. There was an older brother, a middle brother, and then a sister at the end.
Yeah.
And I always was envious of the brothers because it's like, oh man, that's something that I don't have, and it just feels, especially in media, but in life, it just feels like something that would be cool, fun, whatever, adventurous.
I will say it is a nice feeling. Granted, I don't have a sister, so I don't know what it's like to have a sister. Maybe the bond is.
It's funny. I always treated her like my brother in my mind.
Right.
So like, put her in the sharpshooter, call her bro. She hated that. Both those things actually. So don't get me wrong. I don't know what the difference is because I treat her just like I would. I don't. But she cries on the drop of a dime. Like things like that. So I assume that's not a brotherly trait.
My youngest was a crybaby, but we kind of beat that out of him. So.
There you go. And my pops wouldn't let that be.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, come over here, hugs.
Oh, come here, sweetheart. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it is that. I didn't think about that, but yeah, but okay, maybe that's what it is then. Because for me, that was the whole heart of the film. Because I'm sitting here next to my brother, thinking, wow, these two are literally just brothers.
Yeah.
They're us.
Yeah.
Which is so like I was able to connect to those two on that level, and I think that's where the heart is. Whereas the last two films, it's Deadpool and Vanessa's the heart.
And I can easily connect with the love, and even not just the love, but the wondering if you're enough element of the love. And then the loss. My goodness, of course you can be like whatever I can do to get back. So that's why those two meant more to me, and this one is equal to, or maybe greater than, depending on how you feel.
Depending on the vibes.
But before we wrap this up, don't know when we will, but I gotta talk about Mr. Chris Evans. So I don't know what you thought of
I'm about to say, you tell me what you thought of it, and then I'll say what I thought.
Yeah, exactly. So I was gonna say, I don't know what you thought when he arrived, but when we first get to the void where everybody is discarded, I did not realize that it was going to be an all-Fox affair. So when I see Chris Evans pop in with wrist tape, with a tattered top,
a little hoodie, little Wanderer hoodie,
and
slightly trimmed,
not clean cut cap. My first thought was, oh, we're finally getting the man with no country, Nomad.
Wow. Okay.
That's Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
Because we got allusions to it.
Yeah.
In it was Infinity War.
Infinity War.
When he doesn't have the white star and he's basically in dirty black gear, and it was like, okay, we're kind of getting allusions to the man with no country. When especially when he doesn't have the shield and T'Challa's like, oh, get this man a shield.
Get this man a shield.
But I was like, oh, in this moment when he reveals it's Chris Evans, I was like, and even Deadpool, I think Deadpool's kind of what made me think it was going to be Captain America.
That was his job.
Because he was like, oh, say the line, thinking he was going to say Avengers Assemble, when in reality he says Flame On. While I didn't dislike the Flame On and doing the thing, it wasn't what I thought I was going to get. Because, I don't know, I was just excited for the evolution of
the Captain America
Steve Rogers character in a different way, because obviously we met the old man who gave his shield up to Sam Wilson, so like that was
the new Cap.
That was an evolution, but this was
just an evolution of Captain America, not an evolution of Steve Rogers.
Correct, yeah.
Which is what Oz was looking for.
And but like I said, I wasn't mad about it, but it was just like, oh man, that's not what I was looking for.
So for me, when I first saw him, I also thought, Steve Rogers, Captain America, which is what you were supposed to think.
Okay.
And me and my brother were sitting there like, oh, it's Cap. Oh, he's going to say the line. He's going to say the line. Like, we were with Deadpool.
Of course.
One. Like, he's going to say Avengers Assemble. And then when Deadpool says Avengers and he cuts him off with Flame On, I'm like, oh! I didn't see it coming.
Yes.
Because, so I don't know if we've ever talked about that Fantastic Four movie other than, well, it sucked.
Probably in passing.
Yeah,
very,
like,
very lightly.
I doubt we've had. I know for a fact we haven't had a focused video on it at any point.
Correct. I do plan on doing it at some point.
Right.
I think before.
I mean, you might just do an all or nothing with all 3 movies, so we can just throw them all in the trash.
Well, I would never do that.
Never.
No.
No. Okay.
No, I think all 3 movies are vastly different, even though 2 of them connect.
How about it? 2 of them are technically
Yeah.
same universe, but
100% the same universe. But like, I think they are all 3 vastly different.
Mm.
And have you ever watched the Roger Corman one?
Unfortunately.
Okay. I wouldn't even say unfortunately, but we're whatever. I think
I wasn't
all
a fan.
4. I mean, they're all bad in different ways. But I think Roger Corman is potentially the most faithful. I think the first Fantastic Four of Chris Evans' era is possibly the best of all 4 that have come out so far. I didn't like many choices that they did in Silver Surfer. Actually, I've done an all or nothing for those 2 films. I just remembered. But it was a solo job.
Okay, that's why I don't remember. that.
And obviously the
How
worst
long ago was
of.
You remember?
I don't.
All right, it's been long enough that I forgot I watched it, and he forgot he filmed it.
It's okay. But regardless, the fact still remains. I think that the first one is somewhere between fine and good.
Yeah.
The second one is between 2 and
Unwatchable
3.
and passable.
I think I probably gave it a 2. I probably said it.
The Galactus thing took me all the way up.
What's that?
For the
Yeah, the Galactus thing was definitely. It was.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't.
Don't tease Galactus if you're gonna give me a cloud.
I didn't like the power switching. I didn't like, and this is not a knock on Lawrence Fishburne, but I didn't like the putting Lawrence Fishburne's voice in Doug Jones's mouth.
Yeah, it was. That was weird.
Thought that was weird.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is they're all masterpieces compared to the Miles Teller movie, which I wanted to be good. So much so that I watched it in theaters 3 times.
Really?
Because I wanted it to be good.
You're desperate.
I was like, come on, give me something. What am I missing here?
I'm about to say, maybe there was this scene that you just wanted to slide in.
It was all bad.
Yeah.
Every time.
From start to finish.
So,
yeah. But back to my original point. I didn't hate Chris Evans' Human Torch. I actually thought he played the role very well.
Oh.
Like, he plays a good Johnny Storm.
Thank you for saying this, because I think that Johnny Storm, played by Chris Evans, is not the same human being as Steve Rogers, played by Chris Evans. I don't even know how it's humanly possible.
Yeah.
But there is some
acting.
technology out there where Chris Evans walks into that technology and he walks out and he's Steve Rogers, and he goes in and he walks out and he's Johnny Storm, and he's not the same human being.
And it makes perfect sense on both
physical
levels.
It's so weird because as soon as he's Flame One, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's not even Captain America.
Yeah. I'm about to say. Like, at no point was I like, and I think this is like, I don't know if this is a credit to how the movie did it. I don't know if it's a credit to just Chris Evans as an actor, but I wasn't disappointed that wasn't Steve Rogers.
As soon as he said Flame One, I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah,
you did correct.
But, and then even, like, because he's pretty much in and out of the movie. Like, he's literally a little bit of a longer cameo than your average Deadpool movie, but he was in there probably a good 10, 15 minutes maybe.
It's somewhere in that range.
Yeah. Before, Cassandra Nova zip, takes him all the way up. But even, like, sitting there and I'm like, man, he talks like Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
Like, I actually believe. The funny part is when Deadpool started talking, I knew the whole time, like, yeah, Johnny probably did actually say all this stuff. And then at the end of the movie,
when he validates it.
He validates it's like, ha, he did say all this. I'm like, yes! Meanwhile, I'm sitting here watching Chris Evans cuss and do all these non-Captain America things. I'm like, this doesn't seem out of place at all.
Yeah. That's what I said. He's got some magical tunnel where he can... Right. He can change into different human beings.
Truly. But yeah, absolutely.
Wesley Snipes returning as Blade was so enjoyable.
I was such a big fan of that.
But to me, my favorite part of the entire movie was Channing Tatum. So
Gambit.
So his Remy LeBeau, while I always believed him when he said he wanted it, proved that he should have been given.
Yeah, he actually should have been given the role.
Yeah, like, come on now, what are we doing?
Like, I left that Deadpool movie thinking a lot of things, and one of them was, damn, Channing Tatum should have been Gambit. I should have gotten that Gambit movie.
Well, at least cast him as the Gambit in X-Men Origins Wolverine, because my goodness, the guy who played Gambit was irrelevant. He might as well not have been there. He could have been.
I can't even remember who he is.
I don't know if the actor's still acting, but the him playing the role was not memorable at all. Oh my goodness.
I will always remember Channing Tatum as a kid.
He did so good.
He was so smooth with it. Like, everything he did, like, he had the... And I think it helped that I saw, like, X-Men 99, like, not too long ago, too, so I can kind of compare and contrast.
Sure.
He could have played Gambit on X-Men 97 if it wasn't for the original actor also being amazing.
Sure.
Voice actor in that case.
I knew what you meant.
But, like, he has Gambit's charisma. He has Gambit's, like, cadence down to, like, a T. Like I think you said this earlier, like, you knew what he was saying, but he still, like...
Yeah, I said it off camera. I said it before we started recording.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
So, I liked Deadpool making the constant reoccurring joke of, do you even know what he's saying?
Yeah.
And while I did know what he was saying, because he enunciated clear enough that I could make it out, the gag still worked because of the accent that he was putting on.
It was so good.
And so, being able to hit on two levels, top notch.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
I think you're trying to talk me into a higher score.
I mean, I'm just telling you what happened in the movie. That's all I can do.
Right. So, we've been going long and hard into this thing, and I'm going to say, personally, this was my least favorite Deadpool. I did think it was fine. I gave it a 3 out of 5. But because of it lacking what I sought for and not finding it, it was why I gave it the 3 out of 5. I think that, so there was a time before this movie came out where I warned both Brandon and Josiah that we might have to end up doing this movie review like we did the Arkham trilogy of video games, because there was a period of time where I didn't think I was going to be able to get off work and go watch the movie. And so I think that had I gone into the movie hearing your perspective, I would have possibly come out enjoying it more. But because I went in with a certain expectation and didn't walk out with that being met.
With that being fulfilled.
So what was your takeaway?
I loved it. I loved it just like the other ones. I will say, is it the perfect movie? No. Of course not. It's an MCU movie. So
well, that's what I love. That's what I love about Love is it doesn't have to be perfect.
I'm about to say it doesn't have to be perfect.
Movies I love, I know aren't perfect, but it's because of what they mean to me that gets the score.
And I've already explained why I love Deadpool.
Of course.
Explained why it's so great. But
those videos actually got pretty good views, so I'm sure the audience knows.
Awesome, appreciate it. But yeah, just Deadpool as a character is just amazing. He's awesome. Throughout this movie, first of all, I never thought I'd get Hugh Jackman as Wolverine again. Certainly didn't think I'd ever get him with the full costume. Had the mask, had the actual costume. It was incredible. So
there was a lie that was told to the internet.
What?
Or maybe it was a misinterpretation. That's also possible. I won't say it's a full-on lie. But that Wolverine only wore the mask for the first 10 minutes. And so when 10 minutes goes by and Wolverine ain't wearing the mask, I was like, oh, it was probably just the internet being the internet, right? Yeah. And then when you get the wearing the mask stuff, I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah. And I also thought the line was real hard when he put the mask on. He's like, oh, we get a mask now. And he's like, I only wear it when I kill people. I'm like, that's hard. That's a good line.
Well, and it also explains why he's got the eye covering.
Yes.
For the blood splatter and the whatnot.
Yep.
Because, generally
speaking... And he has, I don't know if you, saw it, but him and Deadpool have the same eye. They did the eyes the exact same way. Yeah. For both masks, which was, I thought it was neat.
No, I think it's smart. Well, because I was going to say, often, whether it be comic or animated, you'll have the white eyes, like in Batman. Yeah. But they don't give it any real explanation other than,
it is what it
hey,
is.
That looks cool, right?
Yeah.
And we're moving right on. Whereas with this, it was like, okay, I'm with it.
Yep. I'm about to say there's a logical reason for it. Yeah. There's a lot we didn't talk about in this movie, mostly because there was a lot going on in this movie. I highly recommend you go watch it, form your own opinion, come back in the comments, let us know how wrong we are, how right we are. Because we didn't even really touch on Wolverine and X-23's interactions.
Nope.
We
didn't talk about Jennifer Garner.
Didn't talk about Jennifer Gardner, which, I mean, to be fair,
Barely
didn't talk about her during Daredevil either. So.
Barely talked about Cassandra Nova,
Barely.
which I thought that actress did a very well.
She was a very great Cassandra.
Absolutely.
Nova. Like,
I could easily see her being James McAvoy, the young
X
Charles Xavier.
Young Charles.
Yeah, I could totally see her being his twin.
Yeah. We'll talk about Cassandra for a little bit since she's, I guess, the main villain. I mean,
I don't think
Paradox.
so. I was going to say, I think he's the real villain.
Yeah, agreed.
I find her more sympathetic, actually.
Let me rephrase. She's the superpowered entity
that
they need to overcome.
For sure.
But her performance throughout was so good. There were times I'm like, I hate this woman. I love this woman. I hate this woman.
Turns out they're dating.
Yeah. Turns out I'm actually married to her. But like she did such a great job of making a character who I understand her motivations. Mm-hmm. I understand why she thinks the way she thinks.
Yep.
Doesn't mean I have to like anything that she does, and then also does the tiptoe balance of, oh, she's cool as hell also. Which I'm like, everything about her performance, like, if I was just grading that performance alone, it'd be a love as well.
Yeah, I think that I could have actually stood for her to be the primary villain and not Paradox.
I thought she was the primary villain until I watched the movie.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I thought she was the only villain.
Yeah.
Well, primary only, whatever. Yeah. I
thought the one that mattered. I knew she wasn't going to be the only villain. It was a Deadpool movie.
Exactly.
But
no, I thought the actress did a really good job.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know her for nothing, but that
doesn't
matter.
Don't know her name, but I'm going to try and look her up and try to find more of her work now.
No, she did great.
She did impeccably.
I
read...
Oh, sorry.
Oh, my bad.
You're good.
I was just going to say real quick.
Yeah.
I read somewhere, because they were like teetering on two villains for this movie. Definitely. So, I told you before, I don't read the internet before movies that I know for a fact I'm going to watch, because I want to go in with no expectations to the movie. I want to go in. So, I watched maybe one trailer for this movie. I watched one trailer. Didn't watch any other ones because I just wanted to see the movie and form my own opinion. But I read after the movie, they were thinking of either Cassandra Nova or Mephisto.
Okay, yeah, I saw that.
For the two villains.
Yeah.
They went with Cassandra literally because of the putting her finger in people's heads. And
that was good shit.
Which is like impeccable horror movie stuff.
Yeah.
Because I love horror movies. So I think that was another reason I really enjoyed it. But
it's funny, I wasn't scared by it. I thought it was intriguing.
No, it wasn't a fear-based thing. It was like, the reaction I had wasn't, oh, that's terrifying. It was, ooh.
Yeah, ooh and gross is correct.
Yeah.
So on the villain side of things, Pyro returns.
Yes.
From what, X2 and Last Stand? ? Whatever.
Last Stand, I think you're right.
Same kid.
Same with Toad.
Same. Yeah, exactly. Same dude. And Toad was from the first one.
Was he from the first one? I thought it was.
He's from.
I thought he was from Last Stand.
He might be in that one too, but I know he was in the first one.
I haven't seen the first one in a long time. So.
Yeah. Regardless, my point is, you have reoccurring characters and actors. I say, and because Juggernaut returns from Last Stand, but is a different actor.
Yes.
But that's fine. That's the beauty
beauty
of the multiverse.
Yeah.
Is that you can have
different
same character, different actors. But my point was, Pyro, who's played by the same actor, he feels so grown compared to when we first meet him, who is a young punk, and I really liked the actor's portrayal of this character throughout time, and I just thought he did good work, and especially when Cassandra's like, oh, let me get in your head. He's like, or you could just ask me.
I'm about to say, you can just ask me a question.
Like, I am totally going to answer you.
Sometimes you can just ask. People will answer.
And I thought that was good.
That was good.
Top-notch stuff.
Yeah, I love that. All right. Since we talked about everything else, we might as well talk about X-23. We kind of skipped over it. So, I also thought, because granted, they only had a handful of scenes together, but Hugh Jackman still has great chemistry with that actress.
I only wanted him to be more affected by her. Because he wasn't necessarily.
Right, but the reason he wasn't was because he does not know her.
Oh, I know that. Yeah. I get it. I'm not even saying immediately, but in the final fight maybe. Or by final, I mean when they're having the big fight, right? If he
Right,
does something
but she
different.
also wasn't there for the big fight. Like, for me, I wasn't expecting them to have this big emotional moment like that was the Logan from Logan.
Of course.
Like, I expected him to... Because the whole point of Wolverine in this movie was him reconciling his mistakes, his failures, and overcoming that. So basically, kind of Deadpool story from Deadpool 1,
actually,
but differently.
Pause real quick.
Yeah.
Because here's the important thing.
Yes.
You've actually reawakened one of my big dislikes of the movie.
I'm glad I was able to help.
There were no stakes. So we get to the final scenes, and Deadpool wants to sacrifice himself to save his universe.
Right.
Wolverine says, "No, I'll do it because I ain't got nothing to live for."
Yep.
And so they keep fighting for it, and then they both sacrifice themselves without any sacrifice whatsoever.
I mean, to be fair, it is two of the strongest healing factors in the universe. But
It's either,
I take your point.
It either is or it is not. When you say that you're doing a sacrifice, and then there's no sacrifice, that's my disconnect. If either of them,
Valid.
yeah, exactly. Or here's the thing: be honest with your audience. See,
You talking about Deadpool lies all the time.
no. I'm talking about me, real quick. I'm gonna be real with you.
All right.
My 68-page graphic novel, Everlasting Survivors, tells you
Volume 1 all day long.
from the jump, from the title and throughout the story, these people will come back.
They
right?
are survivors.
They are survivors. They're everlasting. They're gonna keep returning. Because do you know a man named Max Landis?
I've heard of him.
The son of John Landis?
Yeah.
Famous on the YouTubes for doing a video about the death of Superman and how that it didn't kill Superman, it killed death. So literally it's that video is one of the things. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was already in the process of figuring out where I was going to go, but I was like, wait a second, let's not be dishonest. And so that bugged me. Like, I was like, okay, is Deadpool going to sacrifice himself? Does that feel weird because he's the title character? Yeah. Okay, Wolverine's going to do it. All right, I'm with it. That makes sense. Got nothing to live for. And then when they both do it, and then
when Deadpool knocks him out, locks him out of the room.
I was just like, what are we doing? So anyway, that was all. I just wanted to go on a little side quest.
No, I got it. Considering we've been pretty much fawning over this movie, even though you didn't like it that much, I mean, it kind of speaks to, like, how good the movie is. I'm glad you were able to remember something you didn't like.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, again, there are a number of things I don't like. To me, the jokes didn't hit. So, you talking about...
Comedy is subjective, so yeah,
exactly.
sense.
Yeah, and I don't blame the movie for that.
Yeah.
I know that me and comedy aren't exactly tight.
Yeah, for sure. What was my point originally? Oh, I was just talking about the whole point of Wolverine's character in this movie is pretty much he was going through a redemption arc.
Yes.
With his brother Wolverine. And so while I knew, like, at no point in time were he and X-23 going to have that same connection she did with old school Logan.
Yep.
I knew, like, just her, like, kind of talking about what the old Logan was like, this is who you can be. Like, I know you're not him.
Well, I liked her line where Wolverine's
you're
never
the right guy.
until he does the right thing. And I was like,
Exactly.
all right, that. I'm not anti that line.
And that's very encompassing of Wolverine's character.
Well, I disagree. I think that's every character. Like
never the right person.
You don't have to be the right person. You have to make the right decisions. That's life.
Yeah, that's fair.
And and again, but that's no knock on Wolverine or the writing or her delivering line. I just think that's a great philosophy.
That's
for
just a
life.
great life philosophy.
Yeah. So.
No, I feel that. That's better than what I thought. So that's perfect.
But yeah, dude, I got so much editing to do. Right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
All right,
let's just wrap it up though.
All right. So yeah, bringing it home. Love the movie. Awesome. Go watch it. Form your own opinion. Leave a comment. Subscribe. See ya.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.